Hey, good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Happy Thursday.
Happy
Happy
Thursday.
Thursday. We are on live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. It's the Thursday,
First
excuse me,
Thursday
first Thursday of the
of the
month. So you
month.
know what that means. That means it's time for another
Let's talk
conversation
growth.
of Let's Talk Growth. I'm
hmm
excited. I am so excited. Listen, as you're coming in, make sure you like and share. Make sure you like and share. Make sure you tag somebody, invite somebody, let people know that we are on. We are on live. And of course, because this is a conversation, let us know who's watching. Let us know where you're watching from so we
hmm
can say hey, so we can shout you out on tonight. And we see people coming in already. Good evening, good
Good
evening,
evening.
good
Thanks for
evening,
joining.
good
Hi,
evening. What's
Sissy.
going on, Julia? Good to see you. Good to see you. Great to see you. Great to see you. Hope all is well. Hope all is well. We're
Oop,
very
my dad
excited.
just hopped on. Hey,
Hey, what's going on? What's
Dad.
going on, Dad? What's going on?
Hey, Dad. Thanks for
Good to
joining.
see you. Good to see you, Dad. Good to see you. We got New Jersey. Awesome. Thank you so much, sis. Thank you, sis.
Thanks for
Appreciate
joining.
it. So last month was amazing. As we give people times to come in, let's just talk a little bit about last month. Last month was so amazing.
hmm
It was our first time going live and
hmm
got a lot of great feedback in terms of just how
What
much
people
they
got out of
enjoyed
it
what
and
they
what they
got out
enjoy.
of it, how much they enjoyed the conversation. And just wonderful conversation, wonderful conversation. Tonight we're not going to be too long tonight. We're going to stick to maybe our 30 to
Try to stick to
35,
30, 35
35
minutes.
minutes, so you guys can come and, go in and enjoy the rest of your evening.
hmm
But yes, yes, yes. As you're coming in, good evening. Good evening. As you're coming in, make sure you like and share, tag, invite somebody. Let us know who's watching. Say hey to us. Let us know where you're watching from so we can say hey on
hmm
this happy Thursday evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening.
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. So, what a wonderful recap. Last month, we talked about just the journey to the starting point, the
hmm
journey to the starting line. I thought it was so awesome, so good. A lot of great nuggets in that.
So if you missed it,
So,
you can
yeah.
go back and catch that. Hi, Sister
Hey, Sister Wandria, what's
Wandria.
going on from Delaware? Good to see you.
I love
Good
you
to
so
see you.
much. The
Love
Will
you guys.
family's
What's going
on.
on, Wills? What's going on, Ray? Good to see you, brother. Hope all is well. Love you guys. Love you guys.
Love you all so much. Thanks for tuning
Thanks for
in.
tuning in. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Good to see you guys. Hey, what's going on, Angela? What's going on? Good to see you.
Hi, Sister Angela.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Oh, our
Oh,
family's on
what's going
Forever
on?
Branson.
What's going on to the Lintons? Angela, that's my friend, a high school friend from North Carolina. Good to see you. Great to see you. What's going on, Linton family? How are you guys doing? Listen,
Yes.
as you guys are jumping on, make sure you like and share. Tag somebody, invite somebody, let them know we are on. Going to be a very, very good conversation. Great conversation.
Good
I'm excited
conversation
about tonight's
tonight.
conversation.
Yep.
And listen, we're going to give us about another 60 seconds, and then we're going to dive right in
Dive
and let you
in.
guys enjoy the rest of your evening. As you're coming on, say hey to us. Let us know where you're watching from. We love to say hey to you guys. What's going on? We see Wanda. What's going on, cousin?
Hi,
Queen
Sissy
City.
Cuz.
Queen City, Charlotte, North Carolina. Good to see you. Good to see you tonight. Good to see you. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I'm excited about tonight. I'm
Me
excited
too.
about tonight.
I'm ready. Let's
Ready,
go.
we're ready. We're ready to dive
Dive
in.
in.
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
So what we talking about
Amen.
tonight?
Tonight we're talking about just growth in relationships. Uh, Growth in relationships. Oh, we got another Charlotte person. Yep, that's right. You did go to UNC Charlotte. Oh, Wandry.
Oh wow.
So awesome, awesome, awesome. So tonight we're talking about growth in relationships. We're focusing on building stronger bonds,
hmm
the path to relationship growth,
hmm
which I think is so wonderful. It's so good. Um, and a lot of times when people hear that word relationship, I think they automatically revert to um, something romantic or something platonic.
Mm-hmm.
You hear relationship, and that it kind of scares people.
Mm-hmm.
But for the sake of this conversation, for the sake of tonight's conversation, relationships, they can be friendships, they can be
Mm-hmm.
family
Mm-hmm.
relationships,
Mm-hmm.
associations that you're part of.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's important that you learn how to define relationships,
Mm-hmm.
and even with that, there was a survey done as we were preparing for this that we researched, where they asked people about the quality of relationships versus the quantity of relationships. And
Mm-hmm.
interestingly enough, we discovered we discovered that 40 or 54% of respondents to this survey believe that having a few close friends was more important than
Than having a
having
lot.
a lot of friends.
Yeah.
The
Mm-hmm.
survey also said that 66% of respondents felt that the quality of friendships was more important for happiness than the quantity of friendships. And so I
Mm-hmm.
just thought that was so important. You deal with you deal with just that percentage of people, but then you got another percentage of people who feel that having many friends is more
More
important
important.
than having few friends.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
That's what they may
so
desire, you know.
hey, what's going on there? Yeah, there he is. There he is. There he is.
Hey,
There he is. There he is.
Daddy.
Um, you have 46% of people who feel that having a lot of friends is more important than having few friends, and then 34% who feel that the quantity of relationships is more important. And I think I kind of agree. From my perspective, what's your perspective? What do you think is more important?
I think it's for me. Now, this is just my opinion. Having less friends for me is better. I don't necessarily need to have a whole bunch of friends. The less for me, the better. But as we start talking in this conversation, there's a lot of growth that I've had to experience to kind of like navigate that. Because before I would have said, oh no, I need a whole bunch of friends because I'm just for whatever reason, like I've always had a whole lot of friends. But as I have grown and just in different seasons of my life, now I would say less is probably
Yeah, yeah,
better.
and I'm kind of like wondering, I guess, with this survey, like what age range they poll, like who were the responses to this question,
Mm-hmm.
because I think it's so true. You mentioned how as you're younger, you kind of tend to want to have more friends. Like growing up in high school, you're more concerned about being popular.
Mm-hmm.
You're more concerned about how large your circle is, and then as you grow older, and you mature more, you begin to it kind of changes, it kind of
Mm-hmm.
shifts, and you're
And your
more.
relationships they're redefined.
Yeah,
Like I wouldn't say that I don't like to have friends or
right,
anything like that, but it's just like now that I've gotten older, my circles have just kind of shifted.
right,
People are just in different pockets.
right.
I
Yeah,
still feel like I have a lot of friends though.
yeah,
But yeah.
yep. Roger says quality over quantity for me. Absolutely,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
absolutely, absolutely. Julia says same for me.
Mm-hmm.
Less for
Mm-hmm.
me. I really agree. I really agree. Just as you grow older and you mature more, you begin to value relationships more. And
Yeah.
um, I think a lot of times, people ask, why do relationships matter? I think, that's an important question to ask for the sake of this conversation. Why do relationships matter? They matter. Hey, what's going on, Teresa? What's going on? Good to see you. Teresa Church. What's going on?
Teresa.
Good to see you. Good to
Oh
see
my
you. Good to
goodness.
see you.
Hey. I'm going to text you after this. Hey, girl.
Great to see you. Good to see you. But yeah, why do relationships matter? I think that's a lot of times the question that people ask. Relationships, I think it's important because we all need somebody.
We do.
We need somebody.
Mm-hmm.
But they matter because relationships, or I should say the right relationships,
Mm-hmm.
they contribute to
Our
our
success.
success. They
Mm-hmm.
contribute to your overall well-being,
Growth. Mm-hmm.
your overall growth.
Mm-hmm.
The right relationships they provide a sense of belonging.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like I said, we all need people. We all want to feel like we belong. A part of an association, a part of a group.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I think the right relationships help you navigate life's transitions.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we're not meant to do life alone. So, I think that's so important. Um, Absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely, it's so
Definitely.
important.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And building on the importance of relationships, yeah, building on the importance of relationships is important. I think for us to understand that not all relationships are the same.
Right. Right.
Not
Right.
all relationships um, serve the same purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
tonight, as we dive into this conversation, there was an analogy that we kind of stumbled upon
Mm-hmm.
that we want to use for tonight's conversation to kind of just provide an outline or a guide for tonight's conversation. And it was really the analogy of relationships as it relates to a tree.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so with this, this analogy, they said that there are three types of relationships. You have your leaf people,
Mm-hmm.
you have your branch people, and then you have your
Okay.
root people.
Mm-hmm.
So leaf people. Let's talk about leaf people real quick.
Let's talk about them.
Leaf people, um, in my opinion, they're not people that you can fully depend on.
Mm-hmm.
They're not people you can fully depend on. I think
They're
they
not
come.
bad.
Yeah, they're not bad. They come into your life. They come into your life, for a season.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they're in your life. They're hanging on, and then something happens, the wind blows, storms come,
And then they're gone.
or a change of season. Like, so in the summertime, springtime, leaves start to grow on trees. But then you get to like fall
Mm-hmm.
and they begin to fall off.
Mm-hmm.
So they come into your life for a season, they depart your life for a season. And I discovered that just because it's a good relationship doesn't necessarily mean it's a God relationship.
That's good. Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll say that again. Just because some relationships in your life are good relationships, I think you have to ask yourself the question: are they God relationships?
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, is this a relationship that's going to be beneficial,
Mm-hmm.
uh, not just to you, but is it going to be beneficial to me as well? Is this a relationship that is going to be productive?
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to be, a relationship that, is going to be overall productive? Because some people come into your life and they come into your life for the wrong reasons.
Mm-hmm.
They come into your life because to them, you serve as a vehicle to get them to where they need to go. And then once they get there, then they fall off of your life.
Yeah, that's so good. I feel like to that point, for me, just my perspective, I feel like relationships should be more transactional, meaning
Right.
each person should be adding value.
Right.
The idea of people coming in just to get whatever they want, or vice versa. I don't think that people should really, go into relationships with that type of perspective. I think when people get into a relationship, whether it's a short relationship or long term, each person should be committed to, just adding value to that particular relationship.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
just my perspective.
Absolutely. Good evening, Fontini. I hope we pronounced that right.
Oh my goodness. Hi, that's my coworker.
And Kelly, what's going on, sis? Good to see you
I
guys.
miss you.
Good to see you guys. Good to see you guys.
Hey, Kelly.
Yep, absolutely. So, we talked to, you made a very good point about leaf people, but then you deal with branch people.
Yeah.
That's another type of relationship that you deal with as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think branch people, you got to kind of be careful of branch people as well.
Mm-hmm.
While some branches are strong, there are other branches that break off easy.
Mm-hmm.
So again, like, with leaf people, you deal with people that, deal with different types of storm. They're hanging on, they're strong enough to hang on in calm conditions, but then sometimes the right storm will come through and then it'll cause people to break off. So how does that kind of relate to, just what we're talking about tonight? It's important, I think, to understand that with growth, although there are benefits to growth, I think there are also challenges to growth as well. So I know for me, I think like one of the challenges is dealing with people who break off or break away from your life or leave your life because you're growing.
Oh, yeah.
Not everybody
can
handle your growth. Sometimes you deal with people that just cannot handle your growth, so they create boundaries in their mind and they're used to you staying stuck. They're used to you being stagnant. They're used to you being bitter.
Mhm.
And then the moment you start making moves and you start moving,
Mhm.
then you start seeing people drift
Break
off or
away.
drift away
Yeah.
from your life, you know.
Yeah.
But the important thing I think is, with that is that you can't be stuck on the people that walk away.
Mhm.
Again, not everybody is meant to stay in your life forever. So you
Mhm.
you have
Mhm.
to learn to focus on, you
Accept the
know,
purpose that they serve for that
exactly,
time being.
exactly,
Mhm.
exactly, absolutely, absolutely. What's going on, Melissa? Good to see
Hey,
you. Good
Melissa.
to see you. Good to see you. Love you. Love you. Love you. So yeah, you got leaf people, you got branch people, but then you
Mhm.
got the final one that we're going to talk about tonight, and that's
Yes, the root people.
root people.
This is the
Okay,
one that
and
I
what
love.
is that? And what is that? Talk to us about that.
Root people, because I feel like I could be a root person for anybody.
Mhm.
Um, but root people, to me, I feel they're like the more loyal people, people that you'll connect with that bring that loyalty, that sense of consistency.
Right.
I feel root people bring. They're not there to try to get anything from you. They're not there to be seen. They're just here like, hey, listen, I got you, like whatever you need, like they ride with you,
Yeah.
like through the storms and everything. And just them, their presence in your life brings about that consistency. And and then you're able to establish like trust.
Right.
I know trust for me is huge. Like it's really hard for me to just build upon any relationship without trust. And I know with root people, they tend to make it easy for you to establish trust with them just because of their loyalty and their consistency.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how, with the different levels of people, leaf, branch, root people, my favorite, like, of course, everybody are great, but root people for me, like, that is like,
Yeah.
that's those
Those
are
are
the
like
people
those are your
that
ride
I
or
try
dies.
to,
Yeah.
look for when I'm trying to build stronger relationships and growth and connecting with
Yeah,
people.
absolutely, absolutely. I think the thing I love about root people is root people to me is those are the people that you can be vulnerable with without
Mhm.
judgment.
Oh, that's
Like
so good.
you talk about just that consistency and trust.
Mhm.
You can be vulnerable, like you can be like they don't care about your position. They
Mhm.
don't care about the mistakes that you make. They're like those ride or die type people,
Mhm. Mhm.
and you can be vulnerable with them,
Mhm.
and not have to worry about them judging you.
Judging you or what they may think of
Yeah,
you.
what they may think of. Absolutely,
Mhm.
So
And it's good to have that discernment.
yeah,
That's one of the things that I'm really praying for more in this season of my life, is just asking God to give me a stronger sense of discernment so that I can detect, like those people that are root people, when they come cross my path, and then too, I like to watch people's vibes, because
yeah,
some people give you like a certain energy that's like, no, okay, you probably a leaf person or you gonna end up being a branch person.
yeah,
But then some people's, their energy, you're like, I love your energy, like, let's see what this can be. Let's see what this connection is all about.
yeah.
So I'm always praying for, a stronger sense of discernment as I'm engaging with new people and making those connections.
Yeah, absolutely. I think not only that, not only must you be able to like discern or detect, where people fall or get that vibe where people fall.
Mm-hmm.
I think that when you finally learn or finally understand where certain people fall in your life,
Mm-hmm.
you have to learn to be okay with where
Where
they
they are.
where they fall in your life.
That's really good.
Even if they are a leaf. You said this earlier. You touched on this earlier that even if you're a leaf person or even if you're a branch person in my life, it doesn't necessarily make you a bad
Bad
person.
person. No.
I think a lot of times we tend to figure that, hey, you're in my life only for a season, and I've seen a lot of churches do things like this. Sometimes, people can be a part of your church and then they leave because, their season, it really is up. God has moved them or shifted them to another place, and now all of a sudden you're like you're just you're such a horrible person.
Mm-hmm.
But again, seasonal people, it does not necessarily mean
Mm-hmm.
that you are a bad person.
Or our time together didn't add any
It didn't add
value.
any value. Right, right.
Mm-hmm.
I think on the other hand, sometimes leaf and branch people, they could be again, we talk about good relationships versus God relationships,
Mm-hmm.
and it could be an unhealthy relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So on the other hand, you got to recognize that sometimes that disassociation,
Mm-hmm.
Bishop talked about that a couple of
Right,
days
right.
ago. Disassociation, sometimes it can be the best thing for you.
Mm-hmm.
And you just have to learn to be okay. You have to learn to be okay, with that,
With whatever God
with whatever God
says
says.
regarding that relationship.
Absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are some of the growth moments? What are some of the growth moments just in dealing with relationships? As you build stronger bonds. What are some of your growth moments?
For me, I'm still growing in this
Me
one.
too.
But one big one for me would be not expecting people to be like me.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I have like just this personality where I just want to love everybody. Like I said, I could be a root person for anybody. I really
Yeah.
can. Like I'm wired that way. Like I'm just that girl, okay?
Yeah.
But I had to realize not everybody's going to be like me,
Not everybody. No.
and when certain people start moving in different ways and I'm like, "Wait a minute, like I don't know, like they're not making me feel, the way that I make them feel."
Right.
And I
Right.
would have this blind expectation out there, expecting for people to be for me what I
Add for them.
add for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I had to stop doing that, because not everybody's meant to be a root person for me. Some people, they're just meant to be, a branch or a leaf person. They come, they add value in this season, and
Yeah.
then, we may not see each other for a while or whatever. But
Right.
everybody, I'm learning that everybody that I connect with, they have a purpose
Right.
in my life. And I'm just learning not to put that expectation out there. I'm allowing God to do what he wants to do with whatever relationships and connections that he brings my way. So
I
that's
love that.
one
Yeah.
growth
Mm-hmm.
moment that I'm going through. And then I'm growing, I'm being more intentional about preserving those root
That's good.
relationships.
Okay.
Because, God has given me some amazing root relationships
I
in
love
this
it.
season. And I'm just being really careful to guard them and just preserve them and not allow any type of offense or anything to try to come in and destroy those relationships. Because sometimes, root people, they may not always say what you like to hear. They may have to let you know, I'm gonna need you to get yourself together, like, you doing too much or whatever. And they just may say things that may offend you, but I'm learning not to take things personal and just understand if, God brought this person in my life as a root person. They're rocking with me. They're loyal. They're consistent. I trust them. They're showing all those signs of a root person. I'm being more intentional in this season of my life to preserve that, because I found that I could, be throwing away a gift of a beautiful relationship that God has given me just because I may not, like what they're saying to me in that moment. And when in fact, that's really something that I probably needed to hear. And most of the times as I'm looking back on things, like I've learned so much from just all that they were trying to get me to learn in those moments. So those are two big growth moments, growth areas that I'm growing in right now in maintaining relationships.
I think you touched on something so important. For me, that's like it's the same thing. Like I'm learning that in a lot of relationships, in every relationship, like regardless if it's a leaf, a branch, or a root, you're going to be presented with opportunities to be offended. You're going to be offended in any, or I'll say the opportunity to be offended will present itself in your life, And for me, the growth is that, whether the offense is intentional or unintentional, because some people intentionally do. They intentionally try to offend.
Right.
It's like they know what they're doing. Like they intentionally, and then others they do it and they're not even aware. They have no idea. So sometimes whether it's intentional or especially because if it's intentional, it's just realizing that, hey, this is something I see it, I recognize it, I identify it, but the growth is that I'm learning to walk in love. And you said it earlier, not taking things personal, so just understanding that, for some people, okay, like what's the motive behind this offense moment? Or like, what's the spirit behind it? And again, like you said, not taking things so personal. For me on, another growth moment for me is because I'm such a nice person. So, I'm such a nice person. I've let in people over the course of
Your life.
as my life, over the course of especially like the last 10, 15, 20 years,
Hmm.
I've let in people into my life thinking that, oh, this is definitely a root
Yeah,
person. This is definitely a root relationship. And then find that I end up getting hurt or disappointed or burned in the process. And
hmm
and I'm disappointed because I had this strong hope. So like for me, again, we talked about just the quantity of friendships versus the quality. So, for me, it's like I have maybe less than a handful of people that I can name that are quality type
Friendships.
friendships. So I've gone through the years having this hope that, okay, this is a relationship, and then end up getting burned
Hmm.
because it's not, and then it ends up building walls.
Hmm.
On the flip side, you can't be so guarded that you end up rejecting or pushing away someone that's supposed to be a root relationship in your life.
Hmm. That's really good.
Yeah. And then, I think another thing, with root relationships, I kind of wonder, like, if we put limits on who qualifies as a root person.
Hmm.
For example, sometimes we feel like, oh, I've known this person for 23 years, 25 years, so that automatically
Puts them in
qualifies
that
them
category, right?
in that category. Sometimes, you can know people for 20 and 30 years and they still not be a root person in your
Mm-mm.
life.
Mm-mm.
Also, I just heard this. Even with leaf people, we talk about how leaf people are seasonal.
Hmm.
Sometimes I've discovered that people can be present
Hmm.
physically in your life. You can
Hmm.
see them consistently, and then they're still a leaf person. Like because you don't know where they're coming, you don't know where they're coming from, where they're going. 1 week they're up, the next week
Then
they're
they're
down.
down.
They're
Hmm.
not consistent. So you can deal with people who are physically consistent in your life, but at the same time they're still a
They're not
they're,
adding
they're
any
not they're not
value.
adding any value.
Hmm.
They're leaf people.
Yep. Hmm.
um so overall, as we get ready to close, I think the important thing is that just we talked about earlier how we need people, the importance of relationships and how we need people, right? We
Hmm.
need not just people, but we need the right people.
Right. And for me, with all of that, just us needing people and trying to pick the right relationships. One thing for me is when I encounter someone and they make me feel like sunshine,
Yeah,
like that. First of all, that's literally what I always try to do when I'm connecting with anybody. Like, I'm always trying to be intentional about allowing my light to shine, the love for God to just shine through me. So
absolutely.
anytime I'm having an encounter with somebody, it's extremely authentic, and I want them to feel like sunshine in that
Yeah,
moment. I want them to feel alive. And when I come encounter with somebody like that, when they just make me feel like sunshine, like after
yeah,
that conversation, I just feel alive. That right there, for me, I'm like, I need you in my life in
yeah,
some sort of way. I don't know what you're going to be, but that is one way that God deals with me concerning people and how I allow people to connect with me, because we do need people.
right.
We
We
need
need
the
people,
right people.
right?
We need people
Absolutely.
to just help us get to where we're going. So I just always try to surround myself with people that make me feel like sunshine. And I try to make people feel that way
Yeah,
as well,
you
too.
do, you do, you
Yeah, I
do.
try
you
all the
know
time.
I think for me that's like one of the growth areas for me, because like by nature, again, I think I talked about this last month.
Mhm.
I'm naturally an introverted person,
Mhm.
so I like people, and it's crazy because I love people,
Mhm.
but I'm just an introverted person. Like if I'm
Right.
around
Yeah.
people, I'm the type of person that's going to be not necessarily sitting in the corner, but I'm listening, I'm observant.
Mhm.
I don't have a lot to say unless the right person knows how to
Bring it out
draw
of you.
conversation
Yeah.
out of me.
Yeah.
Um, so that one is a question that I ask myself a lot, with the different associations and connections that
Mhm.
I'm with. What does this association or what does this connection do for me?
Mhm.
Am I blessed by this association? Am
Mhm.
I stressed by this association? Am I
Mhm.
frustrated by this? Or am I drained by, this association or this connection? And that, as I grow, I'm growing to a place where I find myself asking myself those
Those
questions. Like,
questions.
what
Yeah.
does this relationship or this connection or this person do for me? At
Yeah.
the end of
That's
the
so
day, when
good.
I leave your presence, if I've come into your presence, for whatever reason, and I leave, how do I feel like once I leave? And
Mhm.
those things really matter. Also on the flip side for me, I'm learning to, because again, I'm an introverted person, I'm in a season now, especially for the things that we are growing and preparing
Mm-hmm.
to do a lot more self-inspection.
Mm-hmm.
So how do I make others feel?
Yeah.
How do I make other people feel like sunshine when
Mm-hmm.
they encounter me, when they encounter my presence,
Mm-hmm.
and they leave? Do they leave enriched? Do they
Yeah.
leave uh,
Empowered.
empowered? Do they
Mm-hmm.
leave positive?
Mm-hmm.
Or they're just like, hey, he was too quiet, or he was just,
We couldn't connect at all. I couldn't
too
find
weird, no
no
connection at
connection.
all. So I'm more intentional about just how I make other people feel when
Mm-hmm.
they're in my presence as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then again, the final thing, as we close, that we just want to kind of just talk about a lot of people. They talk about, in relationships, what are the red flags?
Mm.
What are the red flags to look for? And that's all, we tend to hear. I think by nature, sometimes because we hear certain things, we automatically drift, our mind drifts towards the negative, and we go into relationships
Mm-hmm.
looking for red
Red
flags.
flags. Mm-hmm.
But rarely do I hear people talking about what are green flags.
How about those
What
green
about what are the
flags?
green flags? What are the like?
Yes.
What are some of your green flags?
So some of the green flags that I found regarding relationships, they were so good. So one green flag to look for in relationships are people that celebrate your wins.
Yeah,
When you find people that are just as happy, ready to celebrate you when you winning, that's a green flag. Like that
absolutely,
person just maybe, one that's going to ride with you. When people can respect your boundaries, the
absolutely.
boundaries that you have set in place for your life, that's a green flag. When you feel energized after seeing them,
Yeah,
you just mentioned that is such a good one. I always look for that in people that
yeah,
make me feel like sunshine.
yeah,
They allow you to be completely yourself.
absolutely.
That's a huge one for me. Like I don't have time to try to pretend to be something that I'm not. And if you are riding for me, you're going to accept me just the way that I am.
Right.
They make you feel safe
Yeah,
whenever you are trying to build this relationship and trying to make this connection. You want to feel safe with that person, and they support your goals.
yeah.
Those are some really good red flags that I found.
Absolutely, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah,
Let me be
let me be
me.
me. Let me be me.
Yes.
Like I don't if I feel like I have to if I can come into your presence and feel like I can just, let my hair down, even though I don't have hair, but just let my hair down, that makes me, it makes me more comfortable, and it actually builds trust. It
Mm-hmm.
actually it builds trust.
Mm-hmm.
I think overall, just in terms of relationships, I want to make sure that I'm pursuing and that I'm embracing the relationships that I'm graceful for.
Yes. Ooh,
Because
that's so good.
yeah, because
Mhm.
again, you don't negate the red flags. We talk about green flags, but you don't negate the red flags. I mean,
Mhm.
you identify them and you deal with them as they come. But for me, I'm in a season of my life where I'm like, okay, God, send me the relationships, connect me with the people, that I'm grace for,
Mhm.
and to whatever degree, and sometimes you can you can have that intimate network of covenant relationships, covenant people.
Mhm.
But then you can also have a wide. There's nothing wrong with having a wide network
Of
of,
just
of, of
people
people
that
and
you just love.
association.
Yeah, that love you.
That love you. That love
Mhm.
that that serve a certain purpose
In
in
your
your life.
life. Mhm.
So there's nothing wrong with networking at all. It's just again just pursuing and embracing the relationships that I'm graced for,
Mhm. That
because
are necessary
that
for your growth.
absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Mhm.
Who are the people that are going to help me get where I need
Need
to
to get.
be, and then in turn, what value will I be able to add
Mhm.
to that individual as
Mhm.
well?
Mhm.
So awesome, awesome, awesome. That is our time. This has been a wonderful conversation. Listen, we promised you we wouldn't be on as long as
Last time we
last
were on
time.
here too
Yeah,
long.
we was on almost about an hour, and we promised we wouldn't be on too long, but great
Mhm.
conversation.
And if
Thank you
anybody have
guys.
any questions, you can feel free to put them in the chat, and we can answer them for you at any time.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Thank you,
appreciate it.
Sister
Thank you so much,
Wandrea.
Wandry. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yeah. Um, I wonderful conversation.
Mhm.
Thank you guys for just being so interactive and
Yes.
commenting. Thank you guys for rocking with us.
Thank you so
Absolutely. Thank
much.
you for thinking enough of our voice to just tune in and take, a half an hour out
Mhm.
of your evening to
Mhm.
just tune in with us. We
Mhm.
definitely love you. Remember, we will be back here this time again next month.
Mhm.
If you have not
First
done so
Thursday.
already, yeah, first Thursday. If you have
Mhm.
not done so already, make sure that you like our page. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and we're on YouTube as well. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Again, make sure you share this with somebody, text somebody, invite somebody,
To
and
tune
tune
in
in,
next time.
watch the replay. And
Mhm.
if you were watching the replay, you should have said this right in the beginning.
I know.
Just make sure you tune in, put hashtag replay. But awesome, awesome, awesome job. Love you guys so
Love
much.
you guys.
Thank you
Love
guys
you,
so
Kenya
much.
and Craig. I love
Yeah,
y'all.
love you guys. Love you guys. Listen, and again, if you, thank you so much, Angela.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
Angela.
Thank you so much for rocking with us.
Thank you,
Appreciate you guys.
Daddy. My dad
Yep,
called
yep,
her.
yep. So listen, if you have any questions between now and our next live, you can feel free to DM us. You can feel free to inbox us,
Mhm.
and we will answer your question. We will answer your questions. We may even do some creative things between now and next month. But until then, remember to grow big, grow strong, and grow on purpose. We love you
Yes.
guys,
Love
and we
you.
will see you
Next
next month.
time.
First Thursday.
Bye.
Take care.